Yeah, after this episode, I am going to have to read this. Warning, the views and beliefs in the following program does not reflect the views of Boom Broadcasting. We give full creative control to our creators and do not believe in cancel culture. Viewer discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing? This Coach Prime. And my man Shannon Smith, he let me in his house. Reason why he let me in is because he wanted to let y'all know. If y'all ain't watching Quick Hits with Shannon Smith, you're messing up. Reason why you're messing up is because, number one, the man is funny. Love, man. Got good comedy, good sense about him. Number two, he knows some sports. How I know? Because when he was young, he used to cheer me on. He was a big fan of mine. I remember when I was with the Atlanta Braves. He used to cheer for me, do the tomahawk chop. Back when he was small, been doing it for a long time. He been a big fan of mine, huge fan of mine. When I was a 49er, high stepping, doing the prime time dance, he learned that dance. He learned it. He used to cheer for me. I can hear him cheering for me right now. Prime, it's prime time. I can hear it right now. Now I works hard. When I became a Dallas Cowboy, sorry about that. And Michael Davis, I know you're going to run your mouth a little bit. You need to leave my man alone. You leave him alone because he's a good fan. He's a good man. And I was young and I was dumb. Sorry about that. And he forgave me. He forgave me when I went into that broadcast booth. CBS, cut my teeth as a broadcaster. Loved every bit of it. When I became a coach, he became a fan of mine. I remember him saying it right now. Prime, do it for us. Do it big for us. And I did. Jackson State, we did some things. And I'm thankful for them things that we done. Then when I went to Colorado, he went for me. He told me, he said, Prime, keep your head up. Keep it going. You got people out there that love you. Keep it going. And I did. So I'm giving y'all right now, letting you know, Shannon Smith, Quick Hits, you better watch that show. Because my man know what he's talking about. He a wonderful guy. You're going to love every single episode that he do. Now, with that being said, from Coach Prime, baby, Fort Myers, Florida. Glory to God. Now give me my... Oh, I'm sorry. No, I got to respect the man. Because he opened up his house to me. I got to respect the man. Got to respect the show. Give him his theme music. Baby.
Can't fall off. Now they holler he'll turn. Thinking I'ma sell out. Talking just to feel heard. I never listen. Although they say it's strictly...
Welcome back to Quick Hits. I'm your host, Shannon Smith. We have an incredible summer of sports lined up, from the All-Star games, the free agency and trades, to training camp talk, and the regular season already in full swing for Major League Baseball and the WNBA. I'm looking forward to the continuation of these regular seasons and looking forward to the seasons that have yet to begin. Now, this year's summer of sports has heated up even more because of the Olympics. I'm a huge fan of these games. I try to watch all the games that I can. I know it's hard to do, but I try. Even if I'm not a fan of the sport or know the ins and outs of sports that are being played, I still watch them, still enjoy them, still love them, no matter which country's playing. Still watch them. Now, the Olympics is supposed to be a celebration of the greatest athletes put together all in one place to do battle in their respective sports. Unfortunately, the battle began during the opening ceremonies. Now, some say it was a mockery. Some say that it was a celebration of culture and arts. As a sports fan, I couldn't care less. I'm looking forward to table tennis at 4 a.m. to battle my insomnia. Now, both of these sides, whichever side you reside on, I'm not here to say that. I'm not here to talk about that. But whatever side you're on, why don't you take into the account of the sacrifices of these athletes? You try giving up malt liquor and Bojangles and training 8 to 12 hours a day just to take a tenth of a second off of your finishing time, and you want to talk about being offended? Get out of here. Now, of course, I'm going to hear people say, well, they signed up for this. This is what they chose to do with their life. Just like you chose Hulu and Peacock and all the other streaming services where you're watching this on, there's a power button, a mute button, and an unsubscribe button. Use one of those three. If not use all three, you'll live a better life. Now, me, on the other hand, I'm happy that America showed their discord early, because during the Olympics, it's united we stand. When November comes, right, you see what I'm getting. Well played, Paris. Now, this is for both sides here. Now, for one side that claims that it was culture and arts, if you're claiming that you weren't trying to mock something, you might want to take the similarities out and don't give the other side a reason to think that you're mocking. And for the other side that claims that it was a mockery, yeah, you might want to chill, because the same people that were offended by this mockery are the same people that put a certain presidential candidate at the same event that was being mocked. Shh. Now on the football, money is flying all over the place, from Tua Tagovailoa and Jordan Love getting big contracts, big paydays, to the other players sitting out of training camps right now.
Hello? I can't hear you over all this money, cuz.
Are they wrong for this? Nah. But most of these guys haven't won, let alone played, in the Super Bowl. The only guy that I feel like deserves to get paid the most out of all these players is Tyreek Hill. Not only is he a fabulous receiver and he's won a Super Bowl before, but the man fathered 5 children in the year 2024 alone. We ain't even done yet, bringing the total to 12 kids.
Whoa!
Hey, look, I love the kids too, but put a cork in it, man. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing little cheetahs in the league later on down the road, but you about to put all of them in there? Ah, man, going for the record, my friend. Now, the NFL is looking to lengthen the season to 18 games in the near future. There's talks in the negotiations talking about 2 bye weeks and shortening the preseason over again, taking off another game, probably leaving it to about 2 preseason games. You know, I'm beginning to believe that the NFL language here, claiming protecting the player's safety, is another way of saying, give us more money. With the impending fact that they're trying to go to a streaming service now, it makes sense business-wise to lengthen the season to 18 games. Now, going into the future, I will say this. My favorite for the Super Bowl is the Cincinnati Bengals. Why is that? Because Joe Burrow looks like he's trying to finish the story.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Basketball. That's the next sport. First, I'm going to talk about the ladies because their draft was actually watchable. For those who are just now tuning in, the WNBA has not always been a mean girls club, so don't be intimidated.
Look at her thinking that she's somebody, just because she's the #1 pick in the draft.
And that one over there, she might have won a ring in college. She may call herself Barbie, but she ain't nobody.
Girl, they ain't coming up in here taking our league. Not the way we're playing. Shh. I wish they would one time.
For those who haven't been watching the WNBA, you are robbing yourself of some quality basketball. Shout outs to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese for breaking records in their rookie years. Furthering the discussion of why this Rookie of the Year race is probably one of the best Rookie of the Year races in all of sports in a long time. Shout out to the WNBA All-Stars and the USA women's team for putting on a great All-Star game. Arike Ogunbowale going for 40 points again. She couldn't miss in that game. It was incredible. If you missed it, hate it for you. Now, as we go into the USA team, which the basketball is in full swing for the women, for the USA squad, I saw a little something funny about that. The Japan squad tried to troll the USA women's team by putting up a picture of Caitlin Clark As we all know, Caitlin Clark did not get put on the USA women's basketball team to represent us in the Olympics. Here's a tip. If you're going to troll anybody, and this is for anyone, not just for a certain team, but if you're going to troll anybody, make sure you're good. Japan absolutely did not stand a chance against our women. Whether Caitlin deserved to be on the team or not, I have people on both sides saying that she should and that she shouldn't. Japan had no business trying to troll a team that was light years ahead of them in any way, shape, or form. Now to the men's game. Our guys have had near brushes into the qualifying rounds, but rattled off a very, very impressive win against Serbia, considering the fact that Serbia has one of the best players in the world in Nikola Jokic. This game was very significant because KD came off of the bench and flourished. Jason Tatum sat, and Joel Embiid got booed into submission by the Paris faithful. Come on, guys. You have Victor Wembanyama. The man won Rookie of the Year and should have won Defensive Player of the Year. I'll leave that alone. But what are you trying to do? Stack the deck? Y'all didn't see that. Either way, Wemby shined against Brazil, and the South Sudan squad, who has been the underdog story of the Olympics, rattled off a big win against Puerto Rico. It's safe to say basketball is in full swing in these Olympics. Although the national anthem's performance made us all want to kneel in solidarity for the busted eardrums all around the world, the home run derby went down to the very last home run and was a thriller. Also to add on to that, the All-Star game was nip and tuck in itself, as a Jaron Duran home run gave the AL the win over the NL 5-3, stopping the NL from winning consecutive games. Now, with all the trades being made, all the moves being made now as of 6 o'clock yesterday, we're ready for the second half of baseball, which will include the Dodgers pretty much collecting all the players, Paul Skeens getting 100 Ks, shooing in the reason why he should be Rookie of the Year, and Aaron Judge out there playing T-ball with everybody with his 39th home run being hit. It's safe to say the second half of baseball is heating up. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking that the show is a little different than what it was. I had more bits in the show beforehand, and I started thinking to myself that if I call myself Podcast Smitty, then I might want to handle this more like a podcast. The bits are coming. I'm still going to be doing more bits. I'm also going to be doing some things like I've been doing in this episode to add into the bits, just to make the show work better. And also you see that I did coverage for 3 of the 4 major American pro sports. I'm going to be adding hockey in there. I love watching hockey. Hockey is cool live. A lot of the sports are cool live, of course. Sports are great live, but I've had a lot of fun at hockey games with them being live. So, of course, I'm going to be covering hockey. I'm going to be covering some other sports outside of it as well. With the Olympics going on, I can cover the Olympics as well, too, until it's all said and done. I'll be going outside the realm as well, too. If there's big news in any parts of the sports world, I'm going to do my best to cover it on QuickHits. But expect the major pro sports, expect college as well, too. And I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait. When I began this show and when Boom Broadcasting began, we kind of began in the standstill of sports. You know, baseball is going on, the WNBA is going on, but the NBA hasn't began yet. College sports, or as in college football, college basketball, hasn't began yet. So those sports haven't had a chance to be covered on Quick Hits, but trust me, it's coming. That's what I love about this show. That's why I enjoy this show a lot. That's why I'm looking forward to doing this, is because there are things that I can add to this show as I go with the time frame that I got. Speaking of adding, I don't know if I gave it away in some of my episodes. Some of y'all have been watching me on Drop the Mic with my man Michael Davis. Some of y'all have seen me on Out of Pocket with Michael Davis on Tuesdays when he does Top Rope Tuesday. So many of you that know me outside of here, y'all know that, like the shirt says, I'm a pro wrestling guy. So one of the things that I will be covering on Quick Hits is this right here. Welcome to the Gentleman's Corner. Please have a seat. Take your coat off. You, ladies and gentlemen, are my most distinguished guest. Maybe you would like some tea, maybe a crumpet, no matter. I'm glad you're here. We have plenty to discuss. What are we discussing, you ask? We are discussing, having a wonderful discussion about the most ultimate gentleman's sport. Yes, professional wrestling. I look forward to our conversation. I'm Master Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits. And there you have it. Amongst the 4 American pro sports, a little bit of college, maybe some high school, I get to do something that I enjoy a lot, and that's cover pro wrestling with Gentleman's Corner. Now, this is how I'm going to end the show. I was going to end the show with something different, but I decided to go ahead and scrap that and end the show with this. One of the things that brought some of us together with Boom Broadcasting, of course, my man Michael Davis, my man MD, then mouthing off with Mike, Sean Lucas, and a host of others that are doing things here with Boom Broadcasting, may have been guests on Boom Broadcasting, and are doing their own podcasts on Boom Broadcasting. One of the major things that brought us together was pro wrestling. So I've had people talk to me about this, this year when I was actually being a frequent guy on Michael Davis's Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast 2 years back, when he had a Top Rope Tuesday to Out of Pocket, the times that we've spent talking about wrestling, the times where MD and I have been commentating wrestling. Wrestling is something that has been big with us, many of us that are doing work here on Boom Broadcasting. I was anxious at first, not really anxious, but I was worried at first because pro wrestling was something that I did want to cover. But as I look around on Boom Broadcasting, mouthing off with Mike doing the nightcap, Sean Lucas doing the Wrestling of Destiny podcast on Saturdays, watch that. I had a great time with the last episode. He did a wonderful job breaking down all the shows. I like Sean's mind for wrestling. He has that Jim Crockett old school feel to him when he's talking wrestling. And then, of course, my man ND with the Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast. He's added so much to that podcast. It's so good. He's had a lot of great people on there as guests. He's had me doing analysis on the wrestling that has happened over the weeks. He's had independent wrestlers on there, and it is incredible. Like, the work that he's done has been so good when it's come down to it. Seeing all these guys do their pro wrestling podcasts here on Boom Broadcasting, and just in general, it made me want to not do it, because I don't want to be that guy with another wrestling podcast that may be a cardboard cutout of all of these guys' wrestling podcasts. Then, of course, it hit me when I started doing my own work that I wanted to do something with pro wrestling. And, of course, that's where Gentleman's Corner came from. Now, the reason why I call it Gentleman's Corner, as you can see in the promo, but I made this a point, and I'm going to coin this phrase before somebody goes out there and trademarks it for their own or tries to steal it from me. You heard it here first. I say that pro wrestling is the ultimate gentleman sport. The reason I say that is because pro wrestling puts the other man over. There are times where the other man is put over in matches to look better than the other man. A lot of the choreography and the scripting of wrestling puts someone else over another person. So that to me is why wrestling is the ultimate gentleman sport. I'll be talking about that on every podcast that I go into. I'll plug that into every wrestling podcast that I'm a part of. I will say it here. I'm probably going to get it made on a t-shirt just in case somebody tries to take it. You're not going to take it from me, because that's my phrase. Wrestling is the ultimate gentleman sport. I'm thankful that I get to talk wrestling with my brothers on a weekly basis. I'm thankful for the sport of pro wrestling. I'm thankful for the fact that wrestling is cool again. Everybody who's been a pro wrestling fan has had to probably be that guy that, hey, I like all these sports. Who likes pro wrestling? I'm very thankful that over the past couple years, when wrestling has hit its boom period, that people have came up to me and asked me about pro wrestling, or have asked me about the wrestling shows that we do here in our hometown, who've asked me to explain wrestling to them. People who have never watched wrestling before, but know that I'm a fan or my buddies are fans, and they talk about pro wrestling. Why do you like it? What's so great about it? It just makes me happy that I'm a part of this great wrestling community. The internet wrestling community has its guys on there that you really don't want to follow. I get it. But having that wrestling community around you to where you can actually talk about wrestling, you can have a bond with wrestling, and you can have a bond with wrestling fans, it's a beautiful thing. That's why pro wrestling is the ultimate gentleman sport. With that being said, that's episode 4. I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits.
Ladies and gentlemen,